Okay, so we're going to start off with the quadriceps muscles, and the first muscle I'm going to be palpating is the rectus femoris. The origin of that is the AIS in the upper margin acetabulum, and how you're going to find that is find the ASIS, which is this bony structure right here. Move your way down to the AIS, and work your way down the rectus femoris. The insertion is going to be the tibial tuberosity via the quad tendon and the patellar tendon, and the actions are hip flexion and knee extension. Okay, the next muscle we're going to be doing is the vastus intermedius, and this muscle is too deep to palpate, but if I were to palpate it, it would run right along here. The origin is the proximal 2/3 of the body of the femur, and the insertion is the quad tendon through the proximal border of the patella and through the patellar tendon to the tibial tuberosity, and the action that this muscle does is that it extends the knee. The next muscle I'm going to be doing is the vastus medialis. The origin is the linea aspera. It's going to start right about here. And the insertion is going to be via the quad tendon, the base of the patella, the patellar tendon, and the tibial tuberosity. And the action that this muscle does is extension of the knee as well. The next muscle I'm going to be doing is the vastus lateralis. And the origin of that is going to be the linea aspera also, and the greater trochanter. And we're going to follow that down. And the insertion is going to be via the quad tendon, through the base of the patella, the patellar tendon, and the tibial tuberosity. And the action of this muscle is extension of the knee. The manual muscle test for all of the quadricep muscles is going to require Will to extend his knee, and he's going to hold that for 5 seconds as I push him into flexion. Right, ready?
Yep.
Right, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. So that manual muscle test would be a 5 out of 5.
Today we'll be talking about the hamstring muscles, and specifically the semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Both these are part of the lateral aspect of the hamstrings. The origin point for both of them is going to be on the ischial tuberosity, located here, while the semitendinosus's insertion point will be on the pes anserine, on the medial aspect of the tibia, and the membranosus is going to be on the posterior aspect of the medial condyle of the tibia here. I'll palpate both these muscles. The action of both these muscles is internal rotation along with knee flexion. To do the manual muscle test, we're going to bring the patient's leg up to about a 60-degree knee flexion and internally rotate the femur by bringing the foot out. I'm going to instruct the patient to hold for 5 seconds. I'm going to let them hold it so that they can get a 3, and now I'm going to pull for 5 seconds. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The patient will get a 5 out of 5 for the manual muscle test. I'll now be talking about the hamstring, and more importantly the bicep femoris part of the hamstring, which is on the lateral aspect of the back of the thigh. The origin point, it has 2 because it's a bicep. The origin for the long head is going to be on the ischial tuberosity, and then the short head will be on the linea aspera of the femur on the posterior side. The insertion point is going to be on the head of the fibula, and the palpation is up along here. The body is mainly in the upper portion, and then it comes down to here. The action of this muscle is going to be knee flexion with external rotation of the tibia. So to do that, we're going to ask the patient to bring their leg up, bring their foot in, and that does both the actions. Now instruct the patient to hold for 5 seconds. Hold for 5. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. This patient will get a 5 out of 5.
Today we'll be doing the sartorius muscle. This muscle is part of the pes anserine group. This muscle originates at the ASIS. You're going to palpate this muscle. Here's the muscle belly, and the muscle inserts at pes anserine. This muscle flexes the knee, does tibial internal rotation. It also flexes the hip, does hip abduction, and does hip external rotation. So in order to do the manual muscle test for this, you're going to put the patient in the position of the action. Then you're going to put one hand on the distal end of the femur, other hand just above the ankle, and you try to pull them into extension. Ask the patient to hold 5 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. This should be a 5 out of 5 test.